All right, welcome everyone. Today we are popping the hood on something truly wild. We're going to explore the architecture of Warmind. In this explainer, we're getting a first-hand look at an AI swarm that is literally right now operating a real 2026 political campaign for Sumter County Commissioner.
So I really want you to think about this for a second. What does it actually take to pull an AI out of a simple, neat little chat window and drop it into the messy, high-stakes, entirely unpredictable reality of the Sumter County elections? We're not just talking about asking a chatbot to spit out a catchy campaign slogan. No, we are talking about a massive, federated machine society that's actually executing strategy, scheduling events, and handling some really complex public communications.
And there's this fantastic quote from the internal after-action report we're looking at today that hits the nail right on the head. It says, "Commander is no longer hand-cranking every movement, Commander is steering." It just brilliantly captures the breakthrough here. The human operator isn't doing all the heavy lifting anymore. Instead, they're sitting in the driver's seat, guiding a fully operational machine. The AI is observing, it's reacting, and it's doing real, tangible work.
Okay, so here's our rapid-fire roadmap for today. 1. Waking the warm mind. 2. The continual harness. 3. Building the world model. 4. The barracks and armory. 5. The continuity loop. And finally, 6. Operational command reached. We're going to completely tear down this engine room and see exactly how it solves those notorious amnesia and hallucination problems that usually absolutely wreck typical AI setups.
Let's dive right into Section 1, Waking the Warm Mind, from theory to live action. Let's look at the sheer scale of this thing right as it booted up.
Right out of the gate, before this system can do anything, Warmind operates under some incredibly strict, unbreakable safety laws. First, zero financial authority, or ZFA, meaning it absolutely cannot spend money. So, no accidentally bankrupting the campaign overnight. Then there's the absolute truth doctrine. It simply cannot lie or bluff. And finally, the body double protocol, which basically ensures it leaves a completely visible, audible paper trail of every single action it takes.
And guys, the scale of this setup is just staggering. It's not a single AI agent doing all this. It's a massive federated swarm made up of 44 pantheons, which you can think of as formal houses of work, and 127 timed subagents. And they're all running across 3 distinct platforms, Claude, OpenClaw, and Codex. Working together, they handle the whole shebang, from county meeting schedules and sensitive emails, right down to running the full Facebook page operations.
Which brings us to Section 2, the continual harness, the operational spine. Let's look at the core structure that actually keeps this massive swarm from just, devolving into total chaos.
Now, the definition of the continual harness is absolutely crucial. This is not just a fancy prompt. It's Warmind's persistent control and refinement loop. Think of it as a live control surface. It observes work, assembles context, routes tasks, and dynamically updates memory. It's literally the thing preventing the AI from getting amnesia and forgetting everything the second you close the browser tab.
And to make this manageable, the harness provides a local, highly visible dashboard for the human operator. It lays out exactly what the current focus is, shows active work cards, checks the runway status, and flags what's stale versus what's fresh. It essentially turns what would be an invisible, messy swarm of AI bots into an inspectable, measurable, and highly organized workforce.
Moving on to Section 3, Building the World Model, or how the AI actually understands the reality of the campaign. Because let's face it, an AI is completely useless and, honestly, pretty dangerous if it starts hallucinating campaign facts.
So instead of just dumping data into static folders of text, Warmind dynamically tracks relationships using the world model. It's the canonical, relational, temporal, causal, and evidentiary memory of the system. It's a living map. So if a specific political actor goes from being just an opponent to suddenly building a public records library, the system notes that shift and automatically updates the context for the entire swarm.
And to strictly prevent those nasty hallucinations, Warmind forces every single claim it encounters through a rigorous trust tier gauntlet. It starts at T0, which is just raw intake, stuff it can store, but definitely not a verified claim. T1 is a rumor used to guide research. T5 is a verified fact usable for internal decisions, all the way up to T6, which is a public record fact, the strongest tier for making external claims. The system knows exactly how reliable a piece of information is before it ever gets anywhere near a public Facebook post.
Okay, Section 4, the barracks and armory, equipping the swarm. So we've got the facts secured in the world model. But how does Warmind actually organize its digital labor force to go out and get things done?
Well, first we have the barracks. This is essentially where all the autonomous workers live. It acts as the system's registry and housing layer. This is where Warmind keeps track of the specific identities of all its workers, agents, subagents, and scheduled tasks. It tracks their cadences, their current permissions, and, super importantly, it even tracks their known weaknesses.
And then, right next door, we have the Armory. This is where those workers go to get their equipment. It's the registry for tools, plugins, workflows, skills, standard operating procedures, and reoccurring fixes. The genius of this setup, the system doesn't have to relearn how to fix a technical bug or how to draft an email every single time it wakes up. It just walks into the Armory and pulls the established skill right off the shelf.
To put it as simply as possible, the barracks answers the question of who can do the work, focusing on the workers themselves, while the Armory answers how they are allowed to do it, focusing on the tools and workflows. It's just a brilliant separation of labor and tools that makes this massive digital society incredibly scalable and tightly governed.
All right, let's jump into Section 5, the continuity loop, the engine in motion. Let's actually watch this architecture run by looking at what the source files call the compaction-proof continuity wheel.
This is a non-skippable, multi-step hub that ensures at the end of every single cycle, Warmind actually knows more than it did at the beginning. It starts with the boot and recovery phase. Then it updates the harness and world model. Next, it runs subsystem mini-loops across the barracks, armory, and workshops. And finally, and this is crucial, it creates a final write-back capsule. This safely preserves its memory across reboots so nothing gets lost.
And during those mini loops I just mentioned, the system is actively out there performing vital operations. It's capturing Facebook offline library backfills. It's carefully routing sensitive emails over to a human preview gate, specifically Draca or Sarah, for approval. It's cross-referencing official schedules and drafting daily content that requires readback receipts. It's this beautiful structured loop of continuous safe campaign work.
And finally, Section 6, Operational Command Reached. All of this highly structured architecture leads us to the current verdict on the whole project. According to the progress reports, Warmind has officially crossed into operational V0.1. It's actively passing early world model operational tests. This means new evidence entering the system is automatically updating downstream behavior, all without a human having to sit there and manually explain reality to it over and over again.
The internal reports stated, so proudly yet cautiously, the Warmind is not theater anymore. It is doing real work. This isn't just a fun simulation in a lab anymore, guys. It is an active, file-backed engine producing real, tangible campaign help.
Which leaves us with a pretty massive, thought-provoking question about the future. If this intricate, self-refining machine architecture can effectively run a local county election today, what in the world will it be running tomorrow? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. I really hope this deep dive into the Warmind architecture sparked your curiosity, and I'll catch you next time.